Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have a special guest with us. We have Milo Kovacevic of Against the Plagues. Welcome to the show, Milo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
So, Milo, give our listeners a brief history on the band.
Brief history. Okay, Against the Plagues was formed in 2005 by two former members of a Chicago-based band called Forest of Impaled. Mm-hmm. So it was a drummer, Varian, and Adrian was a guitar player. So they started this band. It was originally called Against, but then they decided to go with Against the Plagues. They released one full length with that lineup, which was Varian, Adrian, and we also had Logan, who played bass and sang, who was from Texas, and then we had Wojtek from Sweden, who's in a band called Luciferion. Mm-hmm. So they released a full length, and it just became too hard to get everybody all in the same place, especially people coming from Sweden and Texas. So then Adrian quit, and they, I don't know if Wojtek just quit on his own or whatever, but they brought in another guitar player, who was Marco Martel, who used to be in Malevolent Creation for a while. Mm-hmm. Then we had them, then they needed another guitar or a bass player, so they called me in like 2013. Mm-hmm. They just put out an EP, and they were going to do a little mini tour, so they needed a bass player, so I came in, learned the songs real quick, and we did our first shows. It would have been March 2013. Mm-hmm. So that lasted for the tour. Then we decided, I decided, I guess, between Varian and Logan, that Logan was just too hard to get him back and forth for everything that needed to be done. So then the hunt was on. We got another singer, Sean Albro. Mm-hmm. He used to be in a band called Ebon Mortis. So then we actually wanted to add a second guitar player. Mm-hmm. So we had brought in Aaron Kovacevic, who was in the band for about 4 or 5 months at the time, and then Marco decided he actually moved up to Wisconsin, and we're based in Chicago, so but it was hard for him to get back and forth, so we had to part ways with him. And then we got another guitar player, and then another guitar player, and then we're on a third guitar player.
So, Milo, what is the lineup now? After all that, who's in the band now?
The lineup now is we have Sean Albro on vocals, we have Aaron Kovacevic on lead guitar, myself on bass, Varian Shlinsky on drums, and we have a new guy named John Corsten who is on rhythm guitar.
Now, is this the same lineup that recorded the new album?
Everybody but John, who joined us after the recording of the album.
Okay, so you joined the band in 2013. What did you do prior to this band? I mean, what other bands were you in?
Oh, God, the list is too long.
No, the latest one.
I was in a band called Ezra. Before that, I was in a band called Commandant. Mm-hmm. That's my time up here. I spent 10 years down in Florida, actually, with various bands down there.
So you've kind of been all over. So you went from Florida to Chicago?
Well, I grew up and raised pretty much around here. I lived in Florida for about 10 years, and then I came back up here. So.
Okay, well, that's understandable. I did the same thing. I'm from here. I moved to Florida, came back here. Because, God damn, I love the snow.
Right?
Okay, so you guys have a few albums out already, some EPs, and are about to release your new album, Purified through Devastation. So tell us first about how the title Purified through Devastation pertains to the music of the album.
Okay, well, the title was thought up actually by our singer, Sean, who writes most of the lyrics. Mm-hmm. It's just, the album goes through, I don't want to say a concept album, but there's definitely a theme that runs through it, and it's just about, how society is just getting really, really worse and worse and worse with all the political garbage and everything else, so it goes on about halfway through the thing and just, like, wiping out all of humanity and trying to start over again and trying to make a better society.
So it kind of is, like you said, it's kind of concept-ish type of album going on here. Now, whose idea was this whole album?
Well, we come up with the music. Like I said, it's usually between myself and Aaron, and Varian also throws in. But the lyrics are pretty much are written by Sean and with a little input by our drummer Varian.
And now, do you guys all live near each other now?
Yeah, we're all centrally located. Actually, the farthest one is our drummer, who lives way up on the north side of Chicago, but the rest of us pretty much live around the south side of the city.
So then it's not that hard for you all to get together and practice and stuff like that. You don't have to do
right, compared to like people living in Sweden and Texas.
I was going to say, you don't have to. I mean, you could send tracks back and forth if you're too lazy to drive, which you probably are, huh?
No, well, we have a central practice recording spot that we all meet at, so.
Okay, so let's walk through the album just a little bit right now. The first song, Man's Modern World. Now, how does this song, I mean, I know you're not the singer and the lyricist, but you know basically the theme enough. How does this song kind of set up the rest of the album?
I was just talking about everything that man's done to, as far as what we've done to the planet, as far as politics and everything else. And just basically it deals a lot with corruption, greed, everything that's just like ruining society.
Now, besides the stories the songs tell, how did you guys approach this album musically? Meaning, what were you going for musically when you were going to put this album out?
We don't like to, I should say, pigeonhole ourselves into one category of music. So we throw in, it's just basically we get together, throw riffs, what everybody's...
But I mean, did you want to do something different? Like, did you go in and say, hey, when we make this album, we want to make it, darker than the last one, or anything like that, when you went into recording this, or went into writing the music?
I don't know if we did it purposely, consciously. I think we just try to come out with the best riffs we can and the best songs we can. Like I said, with different people going into the different various lineups, of course, everything's going to sound a little bit different.
Right.
But we try to keep it pretty much the same. But we try to add in different influences here and there. So how long did it take for you guys to actually record this? And did you guys record it locally? We recorded it up in Wisconsin, actually, Bell Sound Studios. And I think it took us, I'm going to say, all of 3 days to record. And then the rest of the time was for mixing and everything else.
Right. And was this self-produced, or did you guys bring in a producer?
No, we produce it along with Chris Wisco, who actually engineers it and recorded it for us. So.
And listening to this album, because I just listened to it again before I called you, it's almost like watching some kind of a apocalyptic movie. Were you guys happy with the finished product of all of it when it was all put together and you sat through and you listened through the whole thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you said that too, because it's kind of like what we were trying to go with the whole thing. Like I said, it's not really a concept album, but there's that major theme running through the whole album. So
it is, and it's kind of cool with all the little news flashes at the beginning of some of the songs and the sirens. So tell us a little bit about the song Extermination Event that falls right in the middle part of the album. Is that the turning point of the theme?
Well, that is, the extermination event is actually, I would say probably, that's the turning point. That's where, we decide, it's decided that this society and humanity has failed as it is, so time to wipe the slate clean and try over.
And it does definitely sound that way, because if I could guess that, anybody can. And then, we come to Falling Further, which is kind of creepy a little bit, and that I'm assuming is just what the fuck just happened, and then that little, I don't want to say interlude, but it's like a little piece, and then you're right back into it again. And, Enemy Herein, the last track of the album. Now, how does that song wrap things up on this album?
Oh, well, after everything else, like I said, we have the extermination event where it's like everything's just slate's wiped clean, and everything, to try to rebuild society, and again, as a better society, but only to find out that it will never be, because man is inevitably flawed. Mm-hmm. So no matter what we do, it's, no matter what we try as a society, or these people try as a new society, everything's going to basically turn out the same just because it's humanity. Mm-hmm. And you can't really change people, so...
Right. I mean, it's a good theme, and the music is great. And, for you, as the bass player, was this challenging for you, or?
It was challenging in certain aspects because of some of these songs were actually written before I joined, so there was really no established bass player that they had at the time. So I had to come in there and actually, write different bass lines on different stuff and everything else, and try to add more to it instead of just keeping it simple, writing one note or whatever. So,
I mean, it's awesome to listen to. You guys got a great drummer. I mean, just to listen to him alone is fantastic, and the whole band sounds really, really good. The album is different in the fact that you do have like these little new snippets, and you do have these siren snippets, and but it doesn't take away, and it's not like, I don't know what the word is. It doesn't give like a corny effect to it, because sometimes, they sound kind of corny when they have that stuff in it. But it goes along with this theme, and it really is very powerful. It's powerful. Now, compared to the other albums, I know this is the first album you're on, but, I mean, what do you think compared to the other albums and EP they did, how this one compares? Which we really shouldn't do, but we will.
You know what? I just think it's maybe a little more polished because, like I said, there's actual bass playing on it, and not just one of the other members of the guitar player picking up and just laying whatever behind it. And also, there was a more concentrated group effort on this, where a lot of the other stuff was maybe written by one or two people max. Well, now it's like we have two guitar players, myself included, and everything else that all has input on everything musically. So I think that's what made it a little bit different than the previous albums.
And so tell us a little bit about the cover art and the artist and how you went about designing the cover.
The cover art was actually done by Par Olofsson, who has done stuff for like Malevolent and a bunch of other bands. Great artist. Actually, Sean, our singer, got a hold of him and got him to do the artwork for that. So basically it went along with everything we were thinking about as far as like the extermination events and everything else, and just like the cleansing of population and trying to rebuild.
And now, when you guys first started out, I don't know if you know a lot of the history, I mean, you've only been there in a couple of years, but weren't you under like Century Media or something like that? I thought it was like Century Media. Who are you guys with now?
Now this is being released in Europe through a label called Non Servium out of Holland. And we're actually releasing it ourselves here in the States.
But are you looking for labels, or?
Always.
Well, some people aren't, like, well, I don't want to throw it out there.
I mean, as far as, like, we would probably, we'd like to get somebody, as far as distribution would go.
Right.
But, as far as Century Media, I do believe, the first album, I think, was distributed through Century Media.
Yep. Long time ago. Now, how is this going to be released now? In what form? Is it just going to be CD, or are you going to have it released in any other forms?
Well, it's just going to be CD for now. And also, I think, on digital format, I do believe it will be on iTunes and all of that. And I think later on next year, we might do a split or put out some vinyl.
Now, have you played any of these songs live yet?
Pretty much all of them, except for there's two on there that we have not played live yet, which is Extermination Vent, and now I'm drawing a blank on the one.
So what do you guys got coming up as far as tours and fests? I guess in the next year, since this year is almost over.
Right. We have a couple shows coming here locally in January, and then now we're just working on some festival dates in Europe for next year.
No, yeah, I was going to say, do you guys plan on touring abroad, hopefully?
Oh, yes.
So where can people go to learn more about the band? Would it be Facebook? Do you have any websites out there or anything like that?
Well, it's Facebook, and there's also, there's againsttheplagues.com. Or I think it's againsttheplaguesmetal.com, it should be.
All right, so there you go. Well, thank you, and best of success on the new album, Purified Through Devastation, out December 18th on Non-Servium Records. Thanks so much, Milo, for coming on and telling us about the band.
Thank you for having me on.